Oh, morning exercises are getting intense lately. So I'm all worked up. It's perfect time to talk about stuff. So today I'm going to talk about strength. Strength, otherwise known as not being lazy. Now, strength is one of the 8 virtues in my adventure builder philosophy that I try to live by. It's a very important thing. It gives you the ability to manipulate the world around you. It gives you the ability to just operate your own body and your mind. It gives you more energy. And one really big thing I've learned over the years is that the more you try to avoid hard work, the more complicated and difficult things end up being, often. Here's an example of this. A few years ago, this guy comes up to me, and he just traveled 20 minutes to get to where I was, and he's holding a steel pipe. And he says, "Hey, I got to cut this steel pipe into 3 pieces." And I was like, "Cool, man." And he's like, "Oh, I was hoping you could help me with it a little, And I was like, "Well, you need me to hold the pipe while you cut it?" He's like, "Oh, no, I was hoping you'd cut it for me, And I was like, "Oh man, did your hacksaw break? What's going on?" He's like, "Oh no, my hacksaw's fine. My hacksaw's fine. It's just you got the angle grinder. You could just cut it, zoop zoop zoop. So no problem. It's super fast, right? It's easy. It's easy for you to do it." And I looked at the pipe and I was like, "Dude, I wouldn't pull out an angle grinder and turn the electricity on just for that. I would just use a hacksaw. Do you need me to get out my hacksaw and cut it for you?" And he's like, "Oh, come on, man. Just can you just zoop, 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 zoop?" And I was like, "No." And now you're just embarrassing yourself. Why did you even bring this over here? And he's like, "Well, because it's easier to get you to do it." And by the time he finished the sentence, he just felt like such an idiot. And I was like, "Yeah, easier to get someone else to do it, isn't it? Always." And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man." And he skulked away and went 20 minutes back home and cut the damn pipe himself. Now, if he just cut the pipe himself, it would have taken 5 minutes max. Instead, he spent an hour traveling, embarrassing himself, which he could have totally avoided. He could have avoided that whole part and done something else with that hour of life. But he did learn a good lesson, because he never came up to me and asked me to do something stupid like that again. And I don't mean to say this to embarrass that guy. I've also had this learning experience several times in my life, learning the hard way. Unfortunately, he learned this as an adult. He was like a 30-something-year-old guy, and I had the same experience. I didn't learn this until I was an adult, which is stupid. We should be learning this kind of stuff as kids. But apparently, we've been raised by a generation of lazy parents. So, with my kids, I try not to be lazy. I get off my butt, use my strength and my motivation, and actually try to teach them this kind of stuff. So, when my kids have a situation where they need to clean up the area around their desk, because they have these cool desks where they do all these projects and stuff, stuff ends up all over the floor. They get a big mess, and they need to clean it up. Well, sometimes, originally, I would have to tell them, "Hey, you need to clean up this mess. It's getting a little out of control." And then the kid would be like, "Okay." And just start walking at like the slowest, agonizingly slow pace. And I go up to him and say, "Hey, you can spend the next 3 hours doing that, or you can just spend 5 minutes cleaning it up and get on to what you want to do. Do you want to spend the next 3 hours doing what you don't want to do, or you want to just do the thing and get on to what you want to do more?" So then I'd grab them by the arms, and this is where I have a choice. I can either be lazy and just let them behave like idiots, or I can get off my butt, use my own strength, grab them by the arms and start going, dragging them across the room, and they're either moving their legs or they're literally getting dragged, so they start moving their legs, and I'll say, "Okay, go." Okay, so I grab their arms, make them start picking stuff up, like putting it away, just holding them like a puppet. And within 30 seconds of that, they're like, all right, I'll just do it. I'll do it myself. And, that doesn't work the first time or like the 5th time. You might have to do it like 40, 50 times to them before it really sticks. But then when it does, they start getting the idea that, oh, well, if I just do the stupid thing, then I end up in a much better position than if I waste all this time and don't do it for hours. And, you know, like my 10 and 12-year-old are pretty good about that. They need to do something, they just do it. My 4-year-old's like halfway there, and then, you know, my 2-year-old is like just working on chewing with her mouth closed, whatever. So another thing I get a lot is girls will ask me to do something, and I'll be like, well, why don't you do it? Why don't you at least come help? And they'll say, well, because you're a boy and you're stronger. You can lift like 10 times as much as me, so there's no point in me even doing anything. And the silly thing is, like, a crane can lift 100 times what I can lift. Does that mean I should never do anything because it can do more? That doesn't make any sense. Like, if you can only lift half as much, just do twice as many trips. It might take a little longer. It doesn't mean you can't do anything. If, you know, a crane could move things faster than me, there's always someone or something bigger and stronger than you. And just because someone else could do it easier is never a reason you should not do something. And here's a good example of why. Well, one of the many examples of why. So a few years ago, I was working on this concrete house, doing a lot of heavy lifting, carrying concrete, carrying like 2 buckets at a time, full of rocks, you know, back and forth. And I was doing so much of this that the tendons in my biceps here started feeling really bad, like I felt like I was going to tear them. And it got so bad to the point where one day I went to pick up the buckets and I was like, oh, I'm not even going to be able to get those up. So I took some rocks out, couldn't pick them up. I got down to half buckets, still couldn't pick them up. I got down to a 5th full of buckets, like 20 pounds, not even 20 pounds in each hand. I was like, oh, okay, I can pick that up without feeling like I'm going to hurt myself. And at that point, I had a choice. I could say, well, I should be able to do more, or someone else could do more, or I can just pick them up, stop whining, and do it. So I picked up the damn buckets and made 5 times as many trips because my legs were fine. There's nothing wrong with my legs, and I just did it. And a few days later, I found I could put a little bit more weight in the buckets and a little bit more. 3 weeks later, I'm back to full strength. I got full buckets. They're easier to pick up than they were before. I got stronger than I was before because I didn't just give up. And here's the thing about when you do that kind of thing. Anytime you do something, maybe you think you're not as strong as someone else or as strong as you could be, you get stronger. And another thing is, anytime you get injured in that way, it's always better to keep moving. This is why people say, you know, if you twist your ankle, walk it off. I mean, don't run on it and destroy it, but keep it moving. Keep the blood flow going, keep moving. Because if you just sit down and say, oh, I'm just going to rest and heal, it ends up taking longer because your metabolism slows down, your blood flow slows down, you end up atrophying, and you end up healing in a stationary position, which makes it a lot harder to get moving again. But if you just keep going with what you can do, you end up healing a lot better. All right, I've got one more thing to say about strength. One more way that it gives you a huge advantage in life if you really use it and are not lazy. So years and years and years ago, when I was originally saving money to move off grid. Oh no, wait. It was right after I moved off grid. Well, it was kind of when I was saving money and then after I moved off grid, like around that time. I was doing construction, house renovations. And because I was motivated and strong and competent, I could do the same amount of work that a 5-person crew could do, as long as I worked hard the whole time and didn't take any breaks. And this sounds kind of unbelievable until you see the standard 5-person crew, and like at any point in time, 3 of them are like standing around, you know, picking their noses and stuff, and then the other 2 will just kind of be moving at a slow pace. One motivated person who's competent can outperform 5 lazy people. Which meant that as long as I was willing to work hard and bust my butt, I could offer a price that was 80% of what anyone else could offer. And no one else could offer the same price for the same work as me because they had to make sure they paid all their people. Which meant that since I could offer the best price, I got choice of jobs. I could just work for the people I like, which made everything so much nicer. And then I still got paid for 4 people's work. Which meant that I could make like $500-600 a day as long as I was busting my butt. And meanwhile, these guys in the 5-person crew, they make $100 a person per day, maybe 120, 150. That's it. So, just being strong and not being lazy and being willing to put yourself in some discomfort to do things gives you so many advantages in life. And I'm going to go use my strength right now to do some digging. And I'm not going to get on the phone and call anyone. I'm not going to pay anyone to come do it. I'm just going to get off my butt, grab my damn shovel, and go do it myself. Right now! Can you get her from down here where you'll be able to see her?
Try eat with your mouth closed.
Now eat with your eyes closed. She doesn't know what to do. Okay. Eat with your mouth closed. Eat with your mouth closed. This is your mouth. Your eyes are the ones you see with.
Open eyes.
Yeah, those are my eyes. Where's my mouth? Yeah, that's your mouth. Okay, now close your mouth and now chew your food with your lips closed, like this. Keep your lips closed. You don't have big enough lips to do it, do you?
I do. You're very funny. Maybe she doesn't know how to eat yet.
Okay,